Thank you. Okay, so now moving on to the committee Part A reports. Item 12, the draft multicultural strategy, implementation plan and multicultural advisory group terms of reference. Now, this came from the Social Community Development and Housing Committee, but Councillor Jimmy Chen, as the leader of this work, I'd invite you to introduce this item, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and my fellow councillors. As the Chair of the Council's Multicultural Subcommittee, it has been privileged taking a lead to establish the Council's multicultural strategy and also launch this strategy in 2017. For the purpose of the implementation of this strategy more effective and efficiently. So I'm delighted that I also taking a lead to establish the two comprehensive reports today. One is the multicultural, the strategy implementation plan. The other one is a multicultural advisory group, terms of reference. These two are the comprehensive report and the strategic document is very, very crucial for the implementation of this strategy. And also, these two comprehensive report has been consultation with the original the multicultural working group. They are very positive and give us feedback with the minor amendment. Also, these two reports has been a discussion, and first in our multicultural subcommittee on 9th of August. Second was on the social and community development housing committee on 4th of September. Majority of the members, councillors. So that's very positive. We need to implement this one. However, we still just thought how to raise the sufficient budget to support these two comprehensive report, this high level, this kind of strategic document implementation smoothly, effectively. That's very, very crucial. So based on this one, we can see the four goals. The goal one to go through actually is council responsibility. So we also ask the staff need to, based on this implementation plan, integrate all the different units of the council, to put on the long-term plan as well as annual plan. Regarding the goal 4, value and celebrate cultural diversity, we should take positive way to coordinate with the key stakeholders and the wider community groups. Then we can make this strategy for the implementation more successful, particularly for the after most attack on 15th of March. Most of communities thought this very, very good strategic document and also thought how to implement it very, very important. So I urge the chair and my fellow councillors with your animus to support these two comprehensive reports today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any commentary from staff on this item before we move to questions? So we'll take the report as read. Are there any questions? Yanni.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the same question I asked at the committee, but I really want to get a sense of, there's a number of things in here where we say we're going to do things. And given that a number of groups have had reduced funding around multicultural events and around cultural groups, how can we be confident that what we say we're going to do in the strategy is done with the resources that we currently have?
So at annual plan this year, a bid was made, but because of financial restraints was unable to be delivered on, and part of that was to support this strategy. However, we feel that we will prioritise the deliverables that we have. This is a very high one for us. We feel like we can deliver the strategy in the finances we have at the moment. However, there may be an effect on other requests that we can't deliver because of that. That's a reality. But
thank you, Phil.
Thank you, and thank you for all the reports on both the strategy and now the implementation plan. And this came to mind after it came to the committee, Claire, so to be with me. It's around really the aspect of a lot of our immigrant people are really quite entrepreneurial in their approach, and they set up businesses. It's just how can perhaps we as a council make sure that in fact somehow they're supported by whether it's Christchurch NZ or Development Christchurch Limited or part of council.
I agree, absolutely, and I think there are a number of initiatives in town that support some of those businesses through Christchurch New Zealand, through community accounting, through Christchurch Budget Services. There are a range of those organisations that are also supporting businesses as well, so we're only too happy to help that out. As you'll understand, the Small Business Enterprise Centre is no longer around, and they used to provide really, really good support for fledgling multicultural businesses. So there's a bit of a gap in the market there, but we're working with those other groups that have picked up some of that in the meantime.
Thank you very much, Claire.
Thank you. Any further questions? All right, so Jimmy, I'm assuming that you'd like to move this?
Yes.
And Phil, you're happy to second? All right, so moved and seconded. Is there any debate? Phil?
Just a point or two further to what Jimmy has said. Look, I think this implementation plan now, I think has got great potential to be successful. I think, and it hasn't occurred in a vacuum at all. There's been a huge amount of work that has gone on for many years really, by our staff, and it was due to that work that in fact I think we were placed as a council in a strong position when we had the terrible atrocities in March. But this now is just so positive in terms of what can be achieved with all of our multicultural groups. And clearly there's a focus here on what the Multicultural Advisory Group will do, and I think that clearly is an essential component of what can happen in the future. I think looking back too that the Multicultural Subcommittee has already achieved a huge amount by being available for people of all, everybody to come and make wonderful submissions in a low-key way, and it's already achieved a lot. So, and this really is a great opportunity for council to continue a leadership role, and this emphasis in the implementation plan about keeping our communities safe, and it is implicit that we prevent and respond to any racism, which would also make our city unsafe. So I certainly commend the strategy and now the implementation plan, and thank Councillor Jimmy Chen and the staff for huge work that has been done.
Thank you. Yanni?
Yeah, you know, I think it's really good that we're adopting, you know, a number of strategies, but again, I come back to a real concern that we already had this multicultural strategy in place, and what we saw at the last funding round was a number of cultural groups get their funding cut or not get any funding at all. We've seen cultural festivals like Diwali struggling for funding, even though we have a multicultural strategy in place. So the implementation plan has followed a strategy, but actually it just adopts many of the things that we've actually already got in it. And I'm not convinced that this is the right approach. I think when we adopt a strategy, we should be really clear around the financial implications of achieving it. If we're not prepared to do that, then I can't see why we spend time developing these strategies. So I'm going to abstain from this today, not because I don't support doing the work that's in here, but because I don't believe we have sufficient information to ensure that it's actually going to happen. And, you know, I just think it's incredibly frustrating to adopt strategy after strategy and not see their results because we haven't got the resources allocated as part of the adoption of that strategy to ensure that we get these things done.
Thank you. Any further debate? All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Noting Councillor Johansson's abstention.